go ahead and grab that next couple minutes. That will kind of come off the screen as we're into tonight's content. So great. So glad to have you guys all here. I see Ralph and James and Beverly and Vanessa and Brian, another Brian. Hey, Brian, Stanley. Very good. Excited about tonight. And a lot of fun things we're going to learn. We're going to grow and discover together. And that's what I love about webinars, that we get to go through this together. So let's do this thing. Here we go. All right. So this webinar tonight is part of my 7 Ways in 7 Days online course, 7 Ways in 7 Days to Change Your Financial Future Forever. And really what I like to do is leverage all of the experience I've had, both in my real life of screw ups and goof ups and mishaps and mistakes, but also successes and wins and victories and learnings. I like to bring that all together in culmination here tonight. And before I do that, and I don't want to tell myself completely, right, all the dumb things I've done with money, but I definitely want to let you know it's a part of being able to share with you tonight, just the ability for me to have overcome that in the past. But I am the president and CEO of the Horvath Training Institute, and my company helps people to know, live, and love the purpose for their career in finances, which obviously is what tonight's about, right? I want to help you to not only know the purpose for your finances, but I want you to live that purpose out. And I believe that when you know your purpose for your finances, then when you're actually living it out, you're going to love it because you're on purpose. And so that's what I get to do. That's what I'm energized to help you with tonight, how to serve you tonight. As you can see from my bio here, I'm an authentic, informative, and encouraging speaker. And I've written one of my books I have is called Your Purpose, How to Know It, Live It, and Love It. And I share my practical, emotional, and spiritual lessons that I've learned throughout my life, throughout ministry that I've done, through nonprofit work, as well as work in corporate America and so on and so forth. And I'm just really excited to share, like I said, with you, those winnings and learnings throughout my time, almost 43 years on this planet. I'll be 43 on Monday. Woo! But I enjoy sharing life with my little, my wife first, and then my 2 little kids, Ella and Grayson. And I love reading and learning and playing video games with my little man. And okay, I like to play with myself too. All right. I love jazz music, and I love tinkering with technology. And I love to hear from you. There's something that you were moved by tonight. I'd love to hear how I was able to encourage you, equip you, educate you, inspire you, you name it, maybe tick you off a little. And you can email me at brian@brianhorvath.com. It would be an honor to hear from you. Again, a little reminder, did you download the webinar workbook? I want to make sure you got that so you can follow along with me this evening. Okay, just going to do a quick check-in. Awesome, awesome. Oh, happy birthday. Thank you, Billy. I appreciate that, Billy Bob. I love it. So, Drew, Kennesaw, Georgia. Hey, Drew, thank you for that. So, good. Just want to make sure everything's up and going with technology, and make sure you guys got the webinar workbook. All right. Now that we got all that housekeeping stuff out of the way, yay. What is our objective today? And this is where you want to start pulling out your notes. What is our objective today? Our objective is to help you change your financial future forever. That's the point. Now, hear me out on that. That doesn't mean you're failing. That doesn't mean you're in a place you don't want to be. It could mean that, but it doesn't have to mean that. It's a culmination. It's from where you're at today to where you want to be. No matter what, there's some things we all could change. We all could grow in. And guess what? We all need help with those things. So as I shared with you earlier, my purpose in life is to help you to know, live, and love the purpose for your career in finances. And one of the ways I get to do that through my speaking, consulting, and coaching is put on webinars like this. And tonight's webinar objective is to help you, no matter where you're starting from, to change your financial future forever. That's what I'm excited about. Are you ready? Are you in? So that's what you should have wrote down for your first objective, to change my financial future forever. Onward and upwards from here, no matter where we're starting from. That's the point. And we got some tools that have been given to us to do that. A lot of tools, actually, but we're going to go over a few. Regarding our money, though, what is our most powerful tool? Our most powerful tool is simply this. Are you ready? I like to keep it simple up front and get us warmed up. Our most powerful tool that you already have at your disposal The most powerful tool to build a firm foundation in your finances is your ability to choose. Your ability to choose. It's that simple. And you'll see in the gold there, or the if you're, well, we'll get into it, the specific color there, maybe it's goldenrod, I don't know, but the little gold there will be kind of your write-ins for the night. So you have the blanks, and there you have your write-ins. But our most powerful tool in our finances, in anything, but in our finances, we're going to talk about tonight, is your ability, my ability, our ability to choose, to choose, to choose, right? Can't overstate that because we forget sometimes. We are not stuck in the system. We are not beat up so bad that we can't rebound. We can get off the mat. We can learn new things. We can grow new ways. We don't have to, we're not based on instincts. We're based on the ability to grow and change. We're not like the animal race. We can make these decisions daily to change. We don't have to stay stuck, okay? The bell doesn't ring and we don't go running to eat. You know, we're not Pavlov's dogs or whatever. We are human beings that have the ability to choose. And with our finances, we have the most powerful tool, that ability. And we're going to share with you more how to use it tonight, okay? Because some of you might be like, well, I know that, Brian. Yeah, but do we? Do we remember it enough when we go out there and make decisions with our finances all the time? So our most powerful tool is our ability to choose. But what I want to help you to remember is back here. Sorry. What I want you to remember is you need to choose to believe that you can build a firm foundation in your finances. Choose to believe you can build a firm foundation, not just a foundation. Not just you're even making money or you're saving money or maybe you're giving your money or whatever. I'm talking about a firm foundation, one that can withstand any kind of weather, any kind of storm. I live here in Florida and it's hurricane season, right? And if you're on the East Coast or whatever, or in Florida or in the Panhandle, those kinds of things, the Gulf Coast, you know, it's our hurricane season. And so obviously over the years, as storms have come and gone and houses or dwellings have come and gone, we've learned how to get better. We've learned how to build more of a firm foundation. So when those storms hit again, and they will, somewhere, somehow, storms of life come. We're in one now, right? We're in one now with the COVID thing and all the issues going on in our country. And it's an election. There's all kinds of things going on. But you know what? We have the ability to choose to start today to build a firm foundation for our finances. Honestly, that's why I believe you're here. That's what you wanted to do today. You wanted to go a new way, grow a new way, learn something new. We have what we need at our disposal already. It's our ability to choose to build a firm foundation. So as soon as we do that, though, as soon as we decide to step out in faith or to put our stake in the ground or to make a stand or to choose anything that's better than where we were or to take a kind of shout from the rooftop, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going, you got to remember, you will face an opposing force. As soon as you step out, it's called the resistance. And I talk about it in my book, Your Purpose, How to Know It, Live It, Love It. But where I really got that from was from a gentleman named Stephen Pressfield. And he wrote a book called The War of Art. Okay, The War of Art. Basically, the premise of the book was, you know, all the things he had to overcome as he was creating content or as he was writing his novels or writing screenplays. He actually wrote, I believe, the screenplay for The Legend of Bagger Vance, which is a movie that featured Will Smith in it. And so all those things he talks about it are the resistance. As soon as you decide to write, to speak, to change your finances, to run for office, whatever you decide to do that's worthy, that's noble, it's of a great cause, the resistance will show its face. You can count on it. And as we talk about putting our foundation together in a firm way, as you decide to build this firm foundation, you're going to get smack up hit with the resistance. I do. It came to me putting this together. Why should I do this? Who cares? There's enough this and that. But I have a unique understanding and a unique perspective on how to build a firm foundation for your finances. And that's why I'm sharing it with you tonight. I faced the resistance too, and so will you anytime we step out to do something that's worthy. And I believe learning how to change your financial future forever is worthy. It's noble. It's a cause worth fighting for. and you can do it. And I'm here to help you. We're here to help each other. So what we have to remember, though, is that there is this thing called the resistance. Now, would you like to learn how to overcome this pesky? Because it's pesky. It's relentless some days. It's crafty. It will appear sometimes, it seems, out of nowhere in ways you never thought it would. And it's wily. It has schemes. It's a nuisance. You ready to learn how to overcome it? You want to discover these ways, the ways that I figured out how to overcome this pesky, crafty, and wily nuisance. How do we overcome the resistance, right? Loud and proud. How do we overcome it? Well, we have to put any and all limiting beliefs in their place. Limiting beliefs in their place. What are limiting beliefs? Things that you believe about yourself that just aren't true. Things internally that you've told yourself that aren't real. Maybe they're things that someone told you years ago and you started believing it, and you believe that this lie so much it's become truth to you. And it's held you back from not only changing your financial future, but also overcoming the resistance. So we need to put any and all limiting beliefs that have come internally from you. We need to put those aside. Now let's talk about external beliefs. These are things that, external limiting beliefs, things that also that people may have told you even today, right? Or someone in your family, a coworker, maybe the world, is things you heard or read on television or read in a book once. They say you don't add up to anything. You can't handle money. You've made way too many mistakes. You've had failed relationships. You filed bankruptcy. You've got too many credit cards now. You can't do it. And there's a blend here of internal and external. But one of the things I remember is my 9th grade teacher telling me that you'll never be able to do math, Brian. You'll never be able to do algebra. And Mr. Shar was his name. I didn't give you his first name, Phil. And but I remember him telling me that. He even told my parents that at a one-on-one conference. And that really crippled me for many years when it came to taking geometry. And by the way, I avoided trigonometry. And when I went to college, I wanted to do nothing to do with math. I wanted to do if anything I had to do with math, it was computer science, and because I like programming and fooling around with that. Not that that's my career now, but that kind of stuck with me, that I can't do math. So when I started learning started trying to use money or figuring out money as an adult, I thought it was math and I wanted nothing to do with it. Maybe that's you. Maybe you have some limiting belief that has kept you locked in to a lie or to beliefs that just aren't true, that are holding you back from overcoming the resistance, changing your financial future forever. And then the last kind of like limiting belief is kind of like the mode or the vehicle or the way you're going to get things done. Okay. And the world has a lot to say about how to use money, right? It talks to us about debt. It talks to us about credit. It talks about you can have it now if you want it, just order it online, or it will be there in like 24 minutes. Things like that. The world has a lot to say about what status in money you look like and the connection there, or how famous you'll be, popular you'll be, happy you'll be. There's a lot of external or things from the world. And then there's the vehicle, like, hey, why would I ever want to try to live on a budget? That won't work. I don't believe I should save. I don't even believe in being generous. There's a lot of things that can really screw us up when it comes to changing our financial future forever. And in this webinar, not tonight necessarily, but in this webinar series that I'm doing, I want to help you address those and put those where they need to be in their place. You can see I'm spending a lot of time on the specific slide because this will help us remember that when we go to exercise our ability to choose, that resistance is going to come and those limiting beliefs are going to come right behind it. And we need to stand up to it and say, nope, no more. I'm not following your crap anymore, right? And so we all have to do that. So that's what the resistance looks like. It comes in limiting beliefs internally, things we've taken in as truth over the years, and they're not true. There's external things that attack us, okay? And then there's also the mode or vehicle, how we're going to even become financially successful. For example, one more way is that people want to do it, think it's too difficult. There's all these kinds of sophisticated plans. Money is not sophisticated. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple, but a lot of people don't go down the road because they put it off thinking it needs to be sophisticated, and it's not. It doesn't have to be in our personal finances. So, how do we choose to overcome the resistance? We choose to build on the mountain of any mistakes we've made in the past when it comes to money. Build on the mountain. Put our flag on top of that thing. Do not be buried beneath them or underneath them. Mistakes we have. But if you have mistake mountain like I do, put your flag on top and claim it and move on. And back in the day, I read a book. It's called Peak to Peak Goal Setting. So as you climb up your peak, you're not satisfied. You're not resting. You're seeing the next peak as the place you want to go conquer, which means you need to go down the mountain, traverse through the valley, and go up to the next mountain. That could be another mountain of mistakes, or it can be new plowed ground. It doesn't matter. I just want you to be aware that we all made mistakes, that tonight we're moving forward from the limiting beliefs that have held us back about them, and we're deciding and choosing to build on the mountain of mistakes, not become buried underneath them. Awesome? Ready to go? Type mountain in the chat bar or the chat little blocks there. I want to know that you're engaged, and of course, you're following with your notes too. All right, so we all have limiting beliefs. I just gave you some examples of my life, some examples, illustrations of them. But I'd like for you on that worksheet to take a moment and identify your limiting beliefs about money. About money. What are some limiting beliefs you have internally, maybe externally, or about the mode to change your financial future forever? Go ahead and take a moment to write those out. I'll give you time. Terrific. You know, it's good. It's good to claim these things. It's good to write them down. You know what? I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of letting these things control me. And that's where I was in my life. But I was able to overcome, like I told you, build on Mistake Mountain and not be buried underneath it, and get a hold of how I was managing my money and my resources, and choosing to take steps in the right direction that will allow me to change my financial future forever. And what I hear a lot, if I speak to teens or whatever, and the parents are responsible for sending teens to a program or speaking engagement or maybe now a Zoom call, what you hear a lot from the parents is, I wish I would have known now or then what I know now, right, about money or decisions. And I wish I would have known then what I know now. And a lot of times they push their teens to go to this workshop or whatever because they don't want their teens to make the same mistakes they did, right? Maybe you're in that boat, you felt that, or maybe you got invited or sent here to this webinar because of the exact same thing. Regardless, that may be true, but we can't hold on to that anymore as an excuse, as a limiting belief that will hold us back from not moving on. And so I'd love to hear from some of you guys. What are some of the limiting beliefs that you wrote in the box today? Go ahead and type them into the chat box there. And I appreciate you being honest. For me, one of them was fear of failure. I was afraid that things I would try just wouldn't work. And so why try it at all, right? I'd rather be comfortable in my own mess. But I'd love to hear from you. What are some limiting beliefs? Too far in debt, doesn't matter. Just throw our hands up in the air and move on, right? I totally get it, Susan. I totally get it. I was there. $37,000 in debt, making way less than that. Government going to steal it all. Yeah, Karen. I mean, that's good. That's an external belief for sure that can limit us. We'll never be able to make enough money to cover me in retirement. Yep, totally get that, Drew. Thank you for sharing that. Having enough to retire, sorta. Right. Depends on what your definition of retirement is. Yeah, these are things. Takes money to have money. Yeah, making money work for you, right? Investing it. We're going to talk about some of that a little bit later. Yeah, there can be some limiting beliefs. Ultimately, I'm never saying that money should limit your joy. It shouldn't be the source of your joy, I don't believe. But it can increase it, but it shouldn't take from it having money or not having money, I don't believe should take from having joy, and it definitely, I don't believe should be your source of joy. If it is, we have some conversations, and those could be connected to these limiting beliefs. Corey, never make enough, always more bills, especially with the kids. If you have growing kids, they're getting older. All of a sudden, they're growing out of their clothes. You thought the shoes would fit them for a lifetime. Apparently, they won't and don't. So it's too risky to invest in the stock market. There's all kinds of things. All kinds of things. It's great, and I'm excited for you guys that you're getting these things out there, because this is going to help you identify them as limiting beliefs that they are, and ability to choose to move through them. And some of these things sometimes are healthy fears or healthy concerns. They're not like all bad. We just have to learn how to and figure out how to navigate and not be afraid of making mistakes. Huge, huge, huge. Not be afraid of making mistakes. Okay. So great stuff. Appreciate your transparency and your honesty and authenticity. That's what you're going to get from me. And so I really appreciate you giving it as well, providing it as well. So how do we overcome the resistance? This is the next little blank there on the top or the bottom of page 1, is we have to choose. Again, there's that word choose, to learn and grow through the lessons of past successes and failures. I've heard it said, I can't think about who may have said it, but we often learn more through failure than we do successes. But I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like everything should just work out for me. Why? Because I'm Brian and I'm 5 foot short, and they should. I don't know, whatever reason, but they're not. Like even tonight, as I was getting prepared for our webinar, I've done a lot of these webinars over the years, as having issues with technology. It was kind of frustrating me. But I remember it must be worth something even bigger than I imagined if all these hurdles are coming up. So we press on. So I learned some things to do differently next time as a result of what I learned through being a little bit technically challenged tonight. So you and I, most in our relationships, if we're married especially, and hopefully your spouse, if they are on this with you, awesome. If they're not, we need to have you get them to the next one, because it's great to be on the same team with this. You coming and sharing with them all the notes that you took down isn't going to make as much of a difference or an impact as if they heard it themselves, right? And it would be the same for us on the flip side. So choosing to learn and grow through the lessons of past successes and failures is key. And one of the ways you can do that, little extra bonus here, is keep a journal. Maybe even tonight or tomorrow, just fast and feverishly write down these challenges you've gone through in the years with your money. What are these limiting beliefs? And bullet point a couple of details. Maybe there's some stories. There's some things that you can't seem to overcome because of stressors that keep coming up in your life. What's time to put them to bed? What are they? Let's dig a little bit deeper. Okay, put those down. Put those down. And matter of fact, I took notes on a couple of them earlier, and I wanted to share them with you. And one of those is, what if you just don't have a respect for money? That's one for a lot of people. They fear they have to use it, so we might as well use it. But honestly, they don't want to use it. They don't respect it. Why would they want to use something or be around something they don't want to respect? That's tough. I get it. The others, you're never taught how. No one taught you in school. Your parents didn't teach you, or you didn't listen. Hello, that was me. I didn't want to listen. I wanted what I wanted it right away, and didn't want to follow anything but what I felt was best. Well, that landed me in a couple of pits, if not 17 of them. So anyway, there's just stuff like that. There's things that we didn't learn, we didn't care, we didn't understand. No one came alongside of us. We didn't have a mentor, didn't ask someone to mentor us, didn't take inventory of some of these things we're thinking about tonight. Don't let that be you anymore. Take inventory of the successes and failures and kind of draw out, how did you get there? What did you learn from them? And where do you go from here? So ask yourself a question. As you're journaling, maybe this is it. Are you seeing your current financial situation as an obstacle? And by some of those limiting beliefs, I could see that being the case. And it makes complete sense. Call this mistake mountain, maybe, right? Do you see your financial challenges as an obstacle? Or do you see them as an opportunity? Same mountain, different perspective. Obstacle or opportunity? Again, the power you have to choose. The power and the ability you have to choose. Got it? Good. So the money choice that you have. And tonight you're already doing it. So way to go. But it's choosing to gain not just knowledge about money, but understanding. Understanding how it works, where it comes from, what to do, what not to do. And sometimes it's not always clear when you make the choice. So don't think it's this perfect recipe. It's not. And everyone's a little different. And we'll talk about that in a little bit when it comes to our toolbox for our financial firm, financial foundation. But choosing to gain understanding about money. And I applaud you. I really do. You are investing your time. You could be doing a lot of other things this evening, but you chose to invest your time to gain understanding about money from an expert like myself. But what is money? In its simplest terms, money is a means for exchange, right? Money is a means for exchange. And I was going to try to find the book. Here it is. This cool book I got today. How Money Works. Visually explained. And I love these kinds of books because I know a lot of this stuff and you do too, but it puts it into this great, fantastic, like visual of how money works. And it's something that helps you remember it. Matter of fact, here's the first thing, the evolution of money from bartering, right? Trading goods or services that you have with someone else who needs them because they have something you need, right? Okay, that still happens today, especially in this like Facebook swaps. And it's pretty cool to see my wife go to town. It's like she loves to change decor so much that she sells a lot of this decor, of course, less than what we paid for it, but she uses it to buy stuff, in the future or next to replace it because she's got to change it up. Honestly, I love how she decorates her house, but sometimes I'm like, I don't understand this. But anyway, then there was trade records. So there's actually like records written of trade where people would kind of take down values and document and kind of have this at the central, like what would have been back in the day, the central bank, just taking notes of where everyone owed and who traded what and that kind of thing. Then we get the coins. Then we get into bank notes that became now, our money, our paper and coins. And then you get now to like digital money. So it's really cool to see. But all in all, it's meant for a means for exchange. Money is meant for exchange. I have this dollar. It's worth this much. And that thing you have, to me, I believe is worth that much. And I want to trade my dollar for that thing that you have. And we trade, right? We exchange. I like the example that comes from the book called Thou Shalt Prosper. It's a book written by a Jewish man named Rabbi Daniel Lapin. And he talks about money, or our dollars today, as we know that, are simple certificates for a job well done. Certificates for a job well done. Now, think about it this way. Let's see. I got some money because I did a good job. So I got dollars, right? Whether it's digital now or physical, whatever. I go down or I schedule a date with my wife and we go to the nice steakhouse or something like that. And before I go, though, I need to go get a haircut. I need to go look nice and ready for my wife and stuff like that. So I go to get my haircut and my friend over there cuts my hair. She does a great job. April does. And I give her some money as exchange for cutting my hair. Here's a couple more certificates, April, of a job well done. Right? I go to the steakhouse and I pay for our steak dinner and they cook it medium rare like I like it. Job well done. Here's some certificates. I also tip the server. The server then goes, along with my hairdresser, they both go their separate ways and they go use those greenbacks or those certificates to go trade for things that they need. They're just certificates of a job well done. And they flow like currency. Pretty cool stuff, right? Type certificates in the chat box if you got it. That's the story. When you do a good job, when you seek to serve someone and you serve them with excellence, you get rewarded with these little things called certificates of a job well done. That's what we get to use to go exchange for other things, whether it's a product or a service, right? We get all worried and all freaked out and all these things we're trying to understand and grasp, when at its root basis, basic understanding is that money is a means for an exchange. It's not a means for joy. It's not even a means for happiness. It's not a means for status. It's a means for exchange. So when we understand that, that can help us change our financial future forever. So why do we have money? Well, again, I kind of said it already with the green certificates. we're trading it for something that we want, right? That's why we have it. It's a measure of value that we have on something that somebody has for our money. That's what it is. When do we get it? We get it on payday. We get it when we earn commissions. We get it when we sell something in the house. Like I told you about my wife selling stuff. Maybe you get an inheritance. I actually got an inheritance recently. Not a ton, but it was nice to have that. Unfortunately, my uncle passed, but I received an inheritance. Some people decide to borrow money. Okay. Others may get an insurance settlement. You know this stuff, but we think we get all worried about where's it going to come from? Have we asked ourselves the question, where is money coming in this month? Where is it coming from? How can it come from it? How can we make it come from places that hasn't come before? Okay. And I encourage you not to borrow it. Just saying. Investments you get paid out of or dividends, those kinds of things. So there's a whole bunch of way that money can come into our wallet or into our household. But what do we actually get? What do we actually get? Well, for a lot of us today, we're using Venmo and PayPal. So we're getting digital money. Others, we get paid cash, things like that. Okay, we know all this stuff, but I just want to keep it simple for us. I don't want us to get all worked up about this money thing. That's what we actually get. We actually get that kind of stuff, dollars and cents to go spend, right? It's that simple. How do we use it? There's only 3 things we can do with money, folks. 3 things. Give it, save it, and spend it. That's it. That's all we can do. Go ahead and type 3 things in the chat box. That's all we can do. There's actually another little lesson I teach on folks, the 3 things about money, because money is so simple. I can teach it to people in 3 ways in many different areas about money. 3 things. Okay. 3 ways. So give, save, spend. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. When do we use it? We use it every day. And that's why I want you guys to master it. I want you to change your financial future forever. I want you to build a firm foundation because you're going to be going in and out of this financial house. You're building on this foundation every day. Don't put it aside. We use it too much. It's too much a part of our lives. And I used to say back in the day, defeat the money monster. It's time. It's time. And it's time to do it with your most powerful tool, your ability to choose. Your ability to choose. You with me? So, really, really simple stuff. So, as we begin to wind down and wrap up for the evening, here are our 10 financial tools. In addition to the most powerful one, the power to choose. Here are 10 financial tools that we'll be talking about through the entire webinar series if you choose to join me for the next 6 weeks. All free, all in the same format, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But your number one, I believe your number one financial tool is for you to know, live, and love your purpose. Because here's the real deal. Our money is a tool to help us achieve the purpose for which we were made. It's a tool. Money is not our purpose. Having money is not our purpose. That used to be me. I used to chase money so far, it got me into all kinds of trouble. I filed bankruptcy at 25, 18 years ago, only to realize that it was my choices that was the issue, not what was in my bank account. It was my choices. I didn't need to be filing bankruptcy. I just needed to not spend anymore. I needed to get a game plan together. I don't want to get on that tangent, but I understand because I thought my purpose was to have money, have status, drive the coolest car, have the coolest clothes. I mean, that was me. I'm not saying that's everybody, but when you know your purpose, when you're living out your purpose, and when you're loving your purpose, then money is not your purpose. It's a tool to help you achieve it. And I want to encourage you in that. Your second financial tool, and it's your values. So we're going to write down there, your values. And what you could say is, and by the way, there's a little line next to these numbers or to these things on your worksheet there. That's for you to check where you think you're good or not so good at. Okay. You kind of check it if you're good. I'm good in that area. I think I have that down. If you're not, then leave it open with something we can work on. But number 2 is your values. And I would say just your values about money. And this goes for your entire family. What are your family values about money? How do you understand it? Do you respect it? Do you use it wisely? Do you see it as a tool for you to accomplish your purpose, right? Or do you see it something you should be chasing after that's going to define you? So you got to understand, what are your values, all right? Number 3, your relationships. Man, I tell you what, if you read that Thou Shalt Prosper, Rabbi Daniel Lapin too, you'll see that money and relationships go together. And when they go well, it's exciting. When they don't go so well, it's like mortifying, right? It's a huge hurt in our lives when money causes rifts or pain or issues in relationships, especially in marriages. 50% of divorces as a result of money fights. Just can't get together, can't get on the same value system or same understanding. And that's a challenge. I mean, me and my wife, we have values that we're going to give first, save second, and spend last. Those are our values. And are we perfect at it? No, we're not perfect at it. Do we have wants and desires? Of course. But our relationship is founded on those principles of value. We value money the same. And that was something we talked a lot about before we got married. I know not everyone has that opportunity, but you do now, because we talked about that already. It's an obstacle opportunity. It's an opportunity. So your financial tools are relationships. And I'm not just talking about with your spouse or with your children. I'm talking about at work or with your people you sell to as clients or customers, or with people that are going to help you launch a business or build a business, those kinds of things. So your relationships are hugely important in your toolbox to build your firm foundation for your finances. Number 4, of course, your assets. What do you have right now that you can work with that are assets? They're in the plus account for you, right? They're not costing you money. They're making you money. Okay. You understand what I'm saying, right? So in a business, we talk at it called balance sheet, right? We want our net worth is indicated by more assets on the balance sheet than liabilities. Okay, we want our net worth to be in the positive. Again, not defining us, but definitely not something that is holding us back. We want to see that help us with our purpose and help us build that firm foundation. But you got to take inventory of your assets. Where are you? What do you have? What do you own? How much is it worth? And not what you think the value is, but what will the marketplace bear? Again, that's more down the road conversation. But also have awareness of your liabilities. Again, getting to your net worth. Have awareness. What do you owe? What are the terms on those payments? When can you pay those any debts off you may have, whether it's consumer debt or personal loans or family loans or college loans or any kind of car loans, things like that. Okay, mortgages, second mortgages, HELOCs, the whole bag, right? But knowing your assets is huge. It will also lift you up. And if you don't have more assets and you have more liabilities than assets, don't get discouraged. You don't have to stay there. We're going to be right now climbing that mountain and putting our flag at the top. All right. So number 5, your income, huge financial tool. Dave Ramsey says, if you have a large income, you have a big shovel to dig yourself out of the hole. Right. And we're going to talk about next week in how to build a game-winning or a winning game plan for your finances. We'll talk about some things that involve your income. But your income is huge. How can you beef it up? Right? Things like that you need to ask. Or maybe you need to pause some stuff right now to allow your income to go towards the things it needs to go to. Okay? Your budget. We're going to talk more about that next time as well. But having a budget, having a system, having a systematic approach of understanding where you're at on a day-to-day, month-to-month, year-to-year basis. And that's basically knowing your income, your expenses, and knowing what is there more left at the end of the month, or is there more month at the end of the money, right? So we got to determine that. We got to understand that. That's a huge, powerful tool that will change your life forever once you build a budget that works and follow it. Number 7, your insurances. Knowing where you're at with your insurances. A couple of them I'm sure you have already. You have car insurance. Maybe if you own a home, you have homeowners insurance. Some of these things are required, of course, by law. But knowing what your terms are, knowing what your coverage is, having all these things together and putting these things on paper will help you build a firm foundation. There's a lot of times I coach folks that don't even know what they have, and they come to find out they have more than they thought they did. And that could be a blessing to them, right? You may find yourself there. You also may find gaps, things you need to get taken care of. All in all, it needs to be in your toolbox. This kind of information will help you. Number 8, there are way too many people dying without a will and estate. One thing's guaranteed, we're all going to die, right? Doing it without a will or an estate plan is just wrong, man. It's wrong. It's not good for the estate itself. It's not good for the family. And ultimately, it's just not good overall for the welfare of a legacy that you want to leave. Your will and estate can be done pretty inexpensively. Yes, you could do it online, but I highly recommend a lawyer, an attorney that focuses on estate planning and all that kind of stuff to help you. And for most people, it's not that difficult. It's not that expensive. If you just get some quotes, get some understanding, let them know, they'll work with you because they want to help you. Interview multiple estate attorneys. Don't just pick the first one. Don't close your eyes and pick something out of the yellow pages or the internet, whatever, the internet yellow pages. But you need to have a will and estate plan. And it will bring comfort, I believe, to your family, no matter your situation, even if you're single, to let folks know what you'd like to have done with all your assets and even your funeral arrangements after you go to the grave. Okay, number 9, investments. Of course, we have investments, hopefully. What investments do you have? Are they stocks, bonds, mutual funds, Roth IRA, 401b, SEP, 401k, 403b, goodness gracious, what do you want to call it? Savings bonds in your drawer. I just remember looking at mine as a kid going, when can I cash these again? Where do you have money that's put away? So your investments or your savings, those kinds of things. And there's only 3 things we can save for too: retirement, long-term purchases, and emergencies. We're going to talk about that throughout the webinar series as well. But your investment into the future, knowing that things are going to happen, we're not going to be able to earn as much as we used to, and maybe we won't be able to work as long as we need to. So looking at retirement and stuff like that. Your definition of retirement, not somebody else's. That's the other thing how I like to do this money thing, is I want you to be financially free on your terms. What does that look like for you? Not what somebody else says, but what does it look like for you? Investments is a big discussion for a lot of people when it comes to that. This is one of my favorites, number 10. Number 10, your dream team. Having a dream team. And I think of that one show. Dun, 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 dun. Some of you may get that. That's the A-Team, right? They had that black van and Mr. T, and I forget all the other guys' names, but I remember Mr. T. And the dream team, you need to have your dream team kind of like they did. Folks on your team that can encourage you in this financial journey, and folks that you can encourage as well in your financial journey. Folks who can also keep you accountable, right? But also folks that can help you. So I already mentioned a few of them. You can have an estate attorney. You can have an accountant, or maybe your tax prep guy. Maybe they're not your accountant per se, but they do your taxes. You trust them. You can call on them throughout the year for certain kinds of advice. You're going to have people that are ahead of you financially, where you want to be one day, that you trust. Maybe it's a pastor at your church who can guide you in money matters when it comes to your beliefs and your faith. There's also people like, of course, your spouse, if you're married, or your girlfriend to be, or your wife to be, or your fiance, things like that. You want to be able to have these people in your dream team that you can bring the real deal to them, to be authentic with them at times when you need coaching and guidance. You can also have a money mentor or a coach, someone like me, or someone that you trust that can help you walk through your dreams and goals and your purposes for your career and your finances. Those kind of folks assemble together on your dream team. They might not all know each other. Oh, by the way, your investment professional too is another person. Maybe it's a real estate person that you trust. Whatever the case may be, these are folks on your dream team that can help you with this important thing called money. So that's the 10 financial tools. Now it's time to inventory and ready your tools. You got to get together a framework. And I'm actually building one for you now that I'm going to be putting together in my website and out on email and things like that, that takes these 10 financial tools and helps you categorize them and organize them into one place. And I actually have, it's under my desk where I'm speaking from right now. It's a black box with all these different file folders in them that is organized. That in case something were to happen to me or my wife, we both know where to go to get things of importance financially. I also have those things scanned in. You may even want to go as far as getting a box, a safe deposit box at the bank. So that's where you need to inventory those things on paper, get a list, put them into a place where you need it for safekeeping and for a place you can access in time of need. So now that you know what they are, it's time you locate them and put them to work for you, because you're going to need to get to work on them. And that's what this webinar series is dedicated for. That's what I help people do, is help them over time assess and inventory where they're at, celebrate the wins, attack the gaps, and be able to help them with their firm foundation that will change their financial future forever. You can do it. You guys can do it. Because, and remember, because this is because understanding not applied is not having, it's like not having understanding at all. What I mean by that is, if you don't act quickly, if you don't get these things together quickly, this stuff we're talking about tonight will fade away. It will fade away. And there is no replay for what I'm teaching you tonight, but you need to start getting after it quickly, because you'll lose the knowledge. The knowledge applied will bring understanding. But if you don't exercise understanding, if you don't apply it, then you'll lose it. And it's like we never had it at all. So don't miss out on that. Okay. So as we wind down tonight, this has been really exciting. I'm excited for you guys. Your next steps, as you look through the future, look differently through the future. As you're building your firm foundation, you can see differently, right? You're crushing those limiting beliefs. You've written them down, you identified them, and you're saying no more. You have no power anymore, internal, the external, the vehicle, the way you get to change your financial future forever. No, you're putting all that stuff aside, and you're saying, I'm choosing to look through a new perspective, a new lens, a new way. And so the next steps, you always got to have next steps, right? Next steps is important. It wasn't worth it. There were no next steps. So I want you to be on the lookout for a free guide that I put together just for you. And it's called 3 Essentials for Managing Your Money. You're going to get that in your email in the next day or two. Okay. 3 Essentials for Managing Your Money. And again, it's a little next step, something to read and something very short. So don't worry. It's not this thick book or anything like that. Something to read to be able to bridge for the next time when we get together on the next webinar. Be on the lookout for that. Also, register for my next webinar, 7ways-7days.com/2. And that's where we'll share with you, discover with you how to create a game-winning game plan for your money. And that's all on, I believe, on your sheet there too. So you can get that going on as well. And then I'd like to invite you, please help me get better at this. Please help me, because I put this information together over the 13 years and thousands of people I've coached with their finances. And I always like to bring things new, bring some new stories, bring some new illustrations, bring some new ideas, and putting this stuff together for you tonight. So I'd love to hear from you how it went. I ask you some specific questions to help gauge how I did for you tonight and how I served you tonight, as well as just hear where you're at. And so we can help you bridge the gap to the next place. So go to 7ways-7days.com/1-survey, and you can go ahead and fill that out very quick. It'll take a couple minutes. All right. I really appreciate that. So let's get to our Q&A. So we got a couple minutes to do some Q&A. And by the way, if you come up with a question later you forgot to ask, or something as you're going through your notes again that you were reminded of, you can email me at brian@brianhorvath.com, and I'd love to help you there as it makes sense. So thank you very much for your time. I'm going to hop over to a different screen, and we're going to get to Q&A. Okay, great. So hi guys, new screen, chat box, great stuff. Glad you're here. So I'd love to hear from you. What are your questions? Go ahead and put those right there in the chat box. Love to hear from you. And while we're waiting for you folks, I know one of the questions I get a lot is, where do I start? And I share this often. It's like one of my old bosses. He said, Brian, when you're all kinds of scatterbrained and you can't think from one day to the next and you figure out where do you start, he says, try the beginning. And that was my heart tonight, is to be able to help you, no matter where you're at in your money, to just start at the beginning, assessing your tool set, what you have available in your toolbox, and you have more than you know, putting that into a list, into a format that you can celebrate the fact that you're not starting at zero, that you have opportunity to go and grow from here is huge. And so I really love my boss when he said that back in the day, just start at the beginning. And so just take these little steps. And that's why I call it 7 ways in 7 days to change your financial future forever. So it's you learn these 7 ways, 1 way a day, over as long as you'd like. It's not necessarily concurrently, one day then the second day and the next day on the calendar, you have to learn these things. But just over time, you get these into your mind, you get these into how you do things, and your financial future will change forever, as it did for me. So, Karen, expand a bit on relationships as a financial tool as opposed to a dream team. Awesome stuff. So, what I want to share with you is on that is I want you to see relationships in a different way. Being generous with your relationships, not just thinking people. And I'm not saying for you, Karen. You asked the question. It doesn't mean you think this way. Is that sometimes people with their money thinking people are out to get them, right? Or there's some hidden catch. And so, of course, anytime there's a money conversation with someone we may know or not know, we need to explore those options and ask questions. But I would say that sometimes there's a way for your money to grow for you when you're connected with people in a healthy relationship with your money, especially when it comes to a spouse or a fiance or someone you're in deep relationship with. You need to be understanding that those money relationships are a tool. So another case in point is you and your husband, or you and your wife, or something like that regard in your relationship that you're both working. Well, I believe you should not have your money separated, especially if you're married, that you want to have that together to use as a tool to accomplish your purpose for your finances. And so you want to see that relationship not as adversarial, but as complementary. And so that is a powerful money tool. So that's a couple ways I can answer that. We can expand on that more, but depending on the situation, but that's how I see it. So, okay, Billy Bob or Drew, you said link isn't working. Which link are we talking about here? And let me know that, and I'll be glad to get it fixed for you guys. It's fun with technology, tinkering with things that don't always work. Okay, let me know in the chat box there. What other questions do we have? Okay. When you register for next class, page not found. So I just went on it myself. You want to go to, let me just check. I'll put it in the chat box here. Okay, I see the problem. You know what? So this is great. This is one cool thing about technology. If you screw it up and people give you great feedback right away, you can, I would say, just click on that link. Even though this link doesn't look right because it says LinkedIn in it, I believe you click it there, you'll be able to go to the right place and we'll take care of you that way. Thank you for guys for letting me know. It looks like I forgot to change one URL there. So, okay, Stanley, how do you deal with a spouse? Money is mine, a spouse. So how do you deal with a spouse? Money in mine, and your money is mine. I'm sorry, Stanley, I can't grasp the question. How do you deal with a spouse? Oh, okay. I think I know what you're saying. It's basically where the old adage is, my wife's money is hers and my money is hers too, or something to that degree. Well, I think it's just having a conversation. It goes back to the money relationships. And it's very hard because it can be an emotional journey to have conversations about money with a spouse. Okay, so for me and my wife, we've had a ton of heated arguments over the years about things. Most of them were not about money. And the reason was because we had some of those conversations up front. But there was a time, I'll share with you, where I screwed up. That I spent more money than I should based on our agreed allotment. So basically, my wife and I have an agreement that if it's going to be over $100, that we don't spend it unless we've talked about it first. And I think we both give ourselves a little bit of wiggle room there based on values and goals that we have. But sometimes, most of the time, it's just like, just get it, honey. Or, yeah, I'm good at that. But I kind of broke the rule on that one time. I kind of heard she was good with it, but I kind of shouldn't have just got what I wanted. Honestly, just tell you right now. And so that was a big heated argument, and some trust was broken there. We had to work through that. Not happy to say that. As a matter of fact, very, get ashamed about it and actually ticked off about it that I did that. But, honestly, I was probably fearful that she'd say no. And I wanted that thing. It was kind of like childlike behavior. That may be going on sometimes in relationships, and you kind of just address it. I found sometimes to help people address that, if it's very serious and can be detrimental to your relationship overall, is that you both sit down, or at least the person who wants to initiate the conversation writes a little letter and just kind of explain that way that doesn't provide facial expressions, a letter that is non-judgmental, not pointing fingers, but just sharing your heart about how you'd like to have money done differently in your household. And that can kind of address that as well. So just some thoughts. Okay. Everyone who signed up for the next week, go to your email to check on the confirmation. Okay, so awesome. So anyway, guys, with all this, I will get you an email with these next steps, including the survey, including how to register for the next event, as well as getting you out that 3 money essentials guide that I talked to you about as well, how you manage your money. Okay. So I'll take one more question and really appreciate everyone's input and participation. Really excited that you guys were here and invested the time, and looking forward to making an impact with you throughout this webinar journey. Expand a bit on relationships. Okay, we talked about that. Just kind of look in the chat box. Thanks. Have to drop. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Billy Bob. And thank you, Stanley, for the question. Thank you, everybody. Karen, appreciate you guys. James, Beverly, very good stuff, everyone. Ralph, man, really appreciate it. Monica, all you guys have a great night and look forward to seeing you next Wednesday on the how to create a winning game plan for your finances. Have a great night.